Hola, my loves. Hi, guys. How are you? I hope you guys are doing fantastic as I have been, and that your week is going very, very well. Welcome back again to another episode of Growth Reads with Vikki. Growth Reads with Vikki is a cozy space. Come on. It's a cozy space where I read self-help books and I come on here and I share with you all the lessons that I'm learning so that we can grow together. We've been tackling the book, The Let Them Theory by Robbins, and we're still on that book. And today we are going to use the Let Them Theory lessons to discuss how to navigate workplace stress. Right? So anyway, let's get into it. By the way, did you know that according to research, work is the number one cause of life stress for most people, and your manager has as much impact on your mental health just as your spouse. Whoa. I know. I feel like I want to say that again, that work, according to research, is the number one cause of stress for most people. And it can have almost the same impact, actually, it has the same impact on your mental health, just like your spouse. And there has to be some truth to that, because we spend probably half of our day, 12 hours, some people even more, working. So yeah, I could see how that's possible. And I know work can be very, very stressful for so many people because of so many reasons, and we'll probably just try to break that down kidogo, or slowly, just to kind of see what is it that we're talking about. So as rewarding as work can be, it can also be filled with stress. And I think especially if you're African, if you're Kenyan, if you're in Nairobi, you know what I'm talking about. And let's break it down. So we've all had situations, especially when starting out, just when you're fresh off college and you don't know the work industry or how to navigate the work industry. Is you probably have an uncle, an auntie, or someone who's in Nairobi, and they say, yeah, we're going to connect you to someone that we know, someone who knows someone. They probably have a small shop in town selling ABCD. And yeah, we're going to connect you, and you're going to be working there as we try to navigate how you can get work. And it happens to the most of us. And so we go, we introduce to the person says, yeah, I'll give you work. And they first of all underpay you. They don't ask for any qualifications. Most of those places I've seen, not when you're starting out, they're not very, very professional, right? So they tell you, I'm gonna give you 8,000, 10,000. I don't know how much people are paid these days, but at least for me, starting out, those were kind of the salaries. When it was you've gone to a good place, you'd get a place that says, okay, I'm gonna give you 15,000, and you had better be grateful because I'm giving you 15,000. Especially when starting out, this is your first job, you're so green, you know nothing about it, right? And so you go, you're not even told exactly what you'll be doing. You're told, okay, you come tomorrow and start tomorrow, and we'll tell you how you're going to go about it. And so you go yeah, okay, fine, I'm just grateful to have a job. At that point, I think that's what we tell ourselves. Just yeah, I'm just grateful to have a job. Are you though? Are you just grateful to have a job? Let's get into it, right? And so you start working. The first days, you're now being advised by the other people who've been working there. They're telling you, first of all, you're supposed to be here by 7 a.m. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. 7 a.m. you need to be here. And we leave when the place is closed, when maybe math has been done. I've had those stories. First of all, you'll only leave after the boss has come back in the evening. Usually the boss has another job somewhere that they're doing, and so that's their other hustle. So maybe they'll come later in the evening to do the calculations. They've probably hired a manager, or their wife is there, or their son, or someone. So there's just someone keeping an eye out on how business is running, but maybe they're not there. for other people is you have to do the stock count and so many other things, and it's never really clear. For example, timelines, maybe you close at 7 today, maybe tomorrow you close at 8:30. I've had people coming off of work by 9, they're still working. And then you're also not inducted, or you're not given proper induction, like completely what happens when it's the holidays. Do you have a holiday, or are you supposed to be working? When the peak seasons are there, what is supposed to be happening? I've had a lot of these stories. And so what happens is that once you start working in spaces like that do not have culture, do not have systems, and it's not clear, you have no signed contract with this person, they can also just wake up and fire you. That happens to so many people. Like someone wakes up and tells you, go, I don't need you here anymore. There's no HR you can go to. Any very, very informal places of work. You're being paid peanuts. You're working so many hours. On top of it, you have maybe someone who micromanages you. You have someone who's always yelling and speaking to you awfully even in front of customers sometimes. Like, these people ideally do not care. And I know that's just the side. There's also this whole other side where people pretend to have systems, but they'll still call you for a meeting after 5 p.m. on Friday, and you're supposed to attend regardless. You won't be given notice, you won't be told whatever. Yet there are systems. You signed a contract with this person. They also tell you, if you work here for maybe a year or 2 or 3, we see your progress, we are going to maybe increase your salary, maybe give you a promotion. And so we also taught that it's rub my back, I rub yours. And so there's also a whole big culture of like doing this so that this person does this, and so you constantly feel the need to keep putting yourself out there in an unhealthy way, in that you have to be doing extra for the bare minimum, because you're hoping that maybe one day you'll get that promotion that you deserve, or that increment in salary. And so it's like every day you're just doing so much to beg for that, right? And so the time comes where you feel frustrated, discouraged, powerless, hostile, demoralized. And so here you decide that no, I'm going to ask this person for my raise. I'm going to ask them to stipulate the working hours that we are supposed to have. I'm going to ask that we sign a contract with this person, and so on and so forth. And then what they do is that instead of listening, they give you lip service in that this person comes and tells you, no, the profits are down this year, we can't really add salary, or like, my hands are tied, there's nothing that I can do at this point. Or some even go to the extent of telling you, if you're not happy, leave, I can get someone else. Especially those cheap jobs, like I've said, the ones that we usually start out with. You guys know what I mean. They're like, they don't care, they'll fire you because they'll get another person who's also ready to accept the bare minimum. And then these other places that maybe have a little bit of culture, like I'm saying, will probably tell you, no, let's check on this next year again. And so it's lip service over and over and over again. So Dr. Aditi, who says that this is why the reason why people are having a lot of burnout records and they're in a state of chronic stress is work. And she added that stress at work isn't changing, so you need to change your approach to dealing with it. And that is what we want to talk about. We want to talk about your approach to dealing with those stressful situations. If you are, for example, in a place that does not have systems, and this person has showed you over and over again, they're never going to create systems. What are you going to do about it? Do you stay there and stay in a place that doesn't have systems, where you work until they say stop working, where you show up when they say it, when they cough, you bring water? What are you going to do? Do you continue to work many hours and be paid the bare minimum, or peanuts, like I like to call them, because they are peanuts? Or what are you going to do about it? And that's what this book is teaching us, and I want to share that with you, because I feel like most of us go through this, whether you're working in a formal or informal place, or in a place that has system or doesn't. I know we navigate these stressful work situations all the time. So one of the things that you need to come out with, and you need to hold on to, is that you are never stuck. Because most of the times we feel like we are stuck, And we are stuck in our minds because we tell ourselves, but what am I going to do? I'm not going to have money. We tell ourselves all the stories that you tell yourself. So you lie to yourself that you can't leave the job or maybe let me use another example, not just a job, maybe probably a situation, a living situation, a relationship, a date, an interview, a conversation, everything that is stressful. We lie to ourselves that I'm stuck and I can't leave. And when it comes to work, I think that's most of the stories that we tell ourselves, especially when you're starting out. You tell yourself, I don't even have a CV. How am I going to I've not even built a very good CV. What am I going to do? I'm really, really, really stuck. And so one of the things you need to remember is that your career is your responsibility, and you need to do something to scale it. For example, some of those examples can be to network, can be to work on your CV and send it out. It can also be to just quit that job, by the way. It can be, especially if you've been saving, you have a bit of money that can help you maybe go several months as you try to look for another job, maybe cover your rent and food, and probably adjust your living situation so that you're not living a very extravagant life. All those things. You need to remember that your career is your responsibility, and you need to do something to scale it up. To stop choosing to stay in spaces that make you feel miserable. For example, you go to work every day and you're always mad. You're always stressed. You know that the culture is the space is hostile. Let me give you a story that I don't share a lot, but let me share it. So when I was 19, I traveled and I went to Lebanon to work. We were being paid $200 a month, and I was working close to 18 hours a day. And I was working as a domestic worker, so that means I was doing work around the house, just using pretty terms for it. And we used to work 18 hours. I used to work 18 hours a day. I'd not sleep before this person says I can sleep. I'd not eat before this person says I can eat. I wouldn't even take a shower before this person says I can take a shower. Right? I was just there standing, being at the beck and call, and just doing whatever they told me. When I got the job, like I said, there was no clear contract. The working hours were not clearly stipulated. The only thing that was actually clearly stipulated was the salary that we were going to be getting, which was $200. I hope I didn't say 2,000. No, it's $200. I'm gonna go back and listen. And so what happens is that I continued to work like that for 8 months, and I told myself, every time I'd feel like this is unfair, it's 1 o'clock, I started working at 6 a.m. It's 1 a.m. in the night. I've not even slept. I've not eaten well. I'm yet to take a shower, and I'd feel something tell me that, imagine, this is not okay. This is not right. You need to go and approach your boss and talk to them about it. But I had this fear inside of me that, oh my God, what if they don't agree with me? What if they don't? I think I was hoping we can come to some kind of consensus, try to agree on working hours, maybe a salary increment and things of the sort, but it didn't happen. So one night I got very, very fed up. It was like 1 a.m. in the night, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So I just went, knocked into their room, and I said, hi, I want to go back home. I don't want to do this anymore. And they asked me why. And I tried explaining to them that, the working hours are crazy. I am doing more than I'm actually being paid for, and I'm not being compensated in any way. You know what they told me? They told me, when you left your country, you came here to work, so you don't get to stand here and tell me you want to go back home. And I know, right? I was like, okay. And I said, then I'm not going to work. I'm basically on strike. I'm not going to work. And they told me, if you don't work, you will not eat. And I said, okay, fine, I won't eat. I was very adamant. And then she saw that I was very adamant. And then you know what she told me? She told me, leave my house. Immediately. It was 1 a.m. in the night. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm fed up. I'm taking my things and I'm going. So I went, tried to take my things, and she even said, don't take your things, leave. She opened the door and I left. Long story short, I went, I walked like a crazy person. And like I was saying, I walked, and eventually found some girls who accommodated me for like a week, and then showed me how to navigate the whole situation and come back home. Was it the easiest experience? No. Was it the best decision I ever made? Yes. And so one of the things you need to find out is that some people will never change. Some people will not add your salary. Some people will not create safe working spaces, working hours, contracts, and all that. They won't do that because they thrive off of not having that, right? So they're able to exploit you more from that. Some people will always give you lip service and not give you that promotion that you know that you clearly deserve. And so you need to let them be them, and continue asking yourself. One of the things that has stood out for me in this book is how time and again we need to keep asking ourselves, what can I do about it? When someone shows you over and over and over and over again that they're not going to align themselves to what you want, or give you a listening ear, or just whatever it is that you're trying to do, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't force their hand. Some people thrive off of exploiting you. So they want you working crazy hours. They want you being paid peanuts so that they can put more profit in their pockets. And it doesn't matter if you work there 5 years, you'll still be paid what you're being paid right now, because they've clearly shown you that they can't and they won't. By the way, they can't and they won't, and they'll give you lip service. Every time they'll tell you something is wrong with the profit, something is wrong with A, B, C, D, and it's up to you. The real power comes back to you and your decisions, by the way. And so you need to realize that your career is your responsibility, and maybe you need to quit that job. Maybe you need to adjust your life, go live with someone for a few months as you navigate what to do. Maybe you need to update your CV. Maybe you need to apply to other places that will clearly see your work. Maybe it's high time you have that difficult discussion on the working hours. Maybe it's time you set your boundaries on how you can be spoken to at work. And if they don't want to follow your boundaries, then maybe it's time that you leave. Because that's what happens time and time again. We lie to ourselves that we do not have what it takes to leave that job. But imagine you do. You'll probably have to go back home for a while, or live with a friend, maybe use up some of your savings. But yeah, and what happens is that when you now start putting yourself out there, long story short, I came back home, started navigating working in places at home, and I have grown so much in my career. Looking back, I have come such a long way, right? And now I'm in places where I know exactly what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it, and how I'm supposed to. And if I feel like I'm having a problem with the many hours that I'm working and what I'm getting in return, I can go talk to the person about it. And if they don't like it, then that's okay. There's nothing that you will ever do to change someone's mind. People will be people. People will do what they want to do. So let them is for you to stop trying to control what someone else is trying to do. Stop trying to control your boss to give you a raise. If you've asked time and again and they've shown you clearly that they don't want, better stop seeing blue where it's red, green where it's yellow. See it for what it is. If you've asked time and again and they don't want to give you a raise, they don't want to give you a raise. Full stop. Do something about it. Maybe you've asked for a promotion over and over again. You've been there 5-10 years. They don't want to give you a promotion. They'll never give you a promotion. Leave. By the way, go look for that job. And Let Me is about taking responsibility for how you respond to those situations. Let Me is an opportunity for you to put your time, energy, and values at the center of your life. It's where you get to choose your worth, your attention, and what isn't. How do you decide what's right for you, particularly when it's a really stressful situation? Great question. So, according to recent research, the majority of people report feeling stressed about the current state of policies, etc. So many things. We keep on reporting we are stressed by this, we are stressed by this, and those issues are usually around time, money, and people. Usually, it's around those three things. But if you take away anything from this episode today when it comes to navigating your workplace stresses, is that your career is your responsibility. Whether you grow in it or you do not is also your responsibility, and you need to do something about it. That other person, XYZ, they're not going to do anything about it, so you need to do anything about it. And also, if you're starting out looking for a job, I'd advise that you really consider those things. Have like a clear contract with someone, have clarity on working hours, have clarity on the salary, have clarity on so many things. You need to sit down and be clear on those things. Otherwise, you're going to be exploited and you might waste a lot of time on that. So anyway, that's it from me from today's episode on how to navigate workplace stress, especially workplace stress. We've not even gotten to relationships at this point. Workplace stress, like I've said, research shows that it is the number one cause of stress, and it can have almost the same impact just as your spouse. Can you imagine? That's crazy. And so since we spend 8 to 12 hours a day on work, I think it's good to consider how to navigate the stressful situations that come with work. Again, I've not said make a decision out of like without talking to people. Go approach your boss. Maybe you'll have two situations where they listen or they don't. If they listen, yay, good for you, you've got a good boss. If they don't, it's time for you to start making tough decisions for your career, because your career is your responsibility. Until next time, keep it growth. Bye.